Do you like mysteries? To wander through the enigmatic mist of the inexplicable? Great. I'm Merc, and here you'll find what you're looking for. Welcome to my domains. The truth dissolves into the mist.
The image is burned into the retina of anyone who scrolled through Twitter that week. 2 glasses of dark crimson liquid, trembling on a surface that defies stability. The red splashing over the crystal rims as if the very paper itself was experiencing an aftershock. It was just a magazine cover, a piece of editorial art meant to illustrate a geopolitical struggle over oil and influence. But when the ground actually cracked open, that static illustration became a moving picture in the minds of millions across South America. Venezuela, a country already accustomed to volatility on every possible front, felt the earth rupture beneath their feet on that fateful afternoon, the date marked in digital stone, the precise time logged by seismographs that do not care about human symbolism. But the Internet does not forget, and the Internet connects dots that official narratives leave scattered in the wind. The first dot being the cover of The Economist, which had hit the newsstands just days prior to the tremor. Look at the design closely. Really study the geometry of that illustration. 2 copas de vino, not just any generic glasses, but wide, bold goblets, filled to the brim with a deep, blood-red tinto that looks disturbingly organic. Spread. The motion lines drawn by the artist suggest a violent shake, a sudden lateral jolt that sends the liquid flying over the rim in a frozen arc of panic, capturing a split second before the glass shatters or tips over completely. Why wine? Why that specific shade of red? And why the violent motion? The answer lies buried in the very identity of the nation that would soon be hit. Because Venezuela's national football team is known globally as La Vinotinto, the red wine, a name born from the distinct maroon color of their jerseys. Here is the first hook for you. Look at your own screen right now. Have you ever seen a symbol so perfectly matched to a disaster before the disaster actually happened? It feels less like a prediction and more like a signature left at a crime scene. The magazine's theme was global instability, the clash of civilizations, or some other grand geopolitical narrative cooked up in a London editorial meeting. Yet the specific visual language they chose uses the exact metaphor that represents Venezuelan national pride and identity. Was it a random selection from a stock photo archive, a desperate attempt to illustrate shaking markets, or was it a deliberate wink to those who know how to read the hidden signals embedded in our media? On the day of the quake, social media exploded, not just with videos of lamps swaying and buildings groaning in Caracas, but with side-by-side comparisons flooding every timeline. The cover versus the reality, the spilled wine of the illustration against the shattered concrete of the capital. This is where the documentary takes a sharp turn into the uncanny. Coincidence is a word used by the lazy-minded, a comfortable shield against the uncomfortable truth of synchronicity and the interconnectedness of global consciousness. But when the artist draws a glass shaking, and the earth shakes under that specific glass's homeland within the same week, the mathematical probability curve breaks into a million pieces that no statistician can glue back together. Let's examine the brutal mechanics of the timeline. The cover goes to press, the ink dries, the magazines are shipped globally in cargo containers, and beneath the surface of the earth, miles down in the subduction zone, the pressure builds silently, indifferent to human deadlines and editorial calendars. The quake struck with a magnitude that turned the capital into a stage of primal panic. People poured into the streets, the instinct to flee and survive taking over. But in the digital realm, the instinct was to search for meaning in the chaos. Search queries spike into the stratosphere. The Economist Venezuela prediction. Vinotinto cover earthquake. The algorithms choke on the sheer weight of the coincidence, unable to categorize it as news or fiction. Think about the feeling in your stomach when you drop a fragile glass, that split second of pure dread before it shatters on the tiles. Now multiply that by the weight of an entire nation watching its symbols spill over. That was the oppressive atmosphere in the aftermath. We are not talking about magic or mysticism, but about a crack in the facade of chronological order. The cover acted as a harbinger, not because it caused the quake, but because something in the collective unconscious chose that specific symbol to represent a moment that had not yet arrived. As the dust and debris settled in Venezuela, the second layer of this enigma unfolded thousands of miles away, in the luxury of a football stadium in the United States, and it involves a man whose image is as meticulously crafted as the magazine cover itself. David Beckham, a name synonymous with precision, with bending the trajectory of a football to his will, was caught by the cameras at the exact moment the earth ruptured in South America, a frozen frame of bizarre synchronicity. He was holding a glass, not a beer can, not a water bottle, but a crystal goblet filled with a dark, rich red wine, the same exact color, the same type of vessel depicted in the Economist's controversial illustration. Pause and consider the environment. A major football match, the Copa America, a spectacle designed specifically to distract and entertain the masses. Yet there he sits, a global icon, his fingers wrapped delicately around the stem of the wineglass. The timing is the knife that cuts through the fog of denial. The earthquake happened, the news broke across every major network, and simultaneously the broadcast panned to Beckham in the stands, his wine moving with the subtle tremor of his hand. A microcosm of the macro disaster happening below the equator. How does this fit into the puzzle? The Vinotinto is the team, the wine is the symbol of the nation, and Beckham, a British aristocrat of football, holds the symbol of the affected nation at the very moment of its physical shaking, creating a chilling triangular relationship between the art, the event, and the observer. You are watching this video right now, and by doing so, you are now part of this observational chain. Can you feel the weight of that synchronization pulling you into the narrative, making you a detective in a case where the evidence is purely symbolic and intangible? The detractors will call it apophenia, the psychological tendency to see meaningful patterns in random data, and they would be technically right in any other context. But statistical noise does not usually form a coherent visual triangle involving a world-renowned publication and a global sports icon. Consider the date again. Was there a numerical sequence hidden in the day? Was it a full moon? Was it a solstice? The alignment of celestial bodies often coincides with human hysteria. But here we have a cultural alignment, not an astral one, which makes it far more disturbing. This is not about Beckham knowing something secret. It is about the stage we all live on. The modern world is a hyper-connected web of symbols and signals, and when the ground shakes in Caracas, the wineglass trembles in Miami. The systems are linked by the invisible thread of global media and collective attention. Let's look back at the Economist cover with fresh eyes. The title likely spoke of a clash or a breaking point, and the wine represented the spillage of resources, of blood, of history. It is a brutal and classic metaphor, yet the precision of the target makes it feel like a spell cast in printing ink. We are left with a profound dilemma. Either the universe is smaller and more intertwined than physics allows us to calculate, or the architects of our reality possess a subconscious precognition that leaks into their creative output without them even realizing it. Think about the fear in the eyes of the Venezuelan fans who saw that cover. They saw their team's emblem, their nickname, bleeding off a magazine spread and spilling onto their streets. The psychological trauma was compounded by the realization that their identity was already a casualty in a magazine spread before the first brick even fell. The echo of the tremor fades, but the image remains permanently etched. The spilling wine frozen in time on glossy paper, It serves as a warning. Not about earthquakes, but about the very nature of time and prediction itself. The final hook is for you directly. Look around your room right now. Look at the objects on your desk. Is there a glass? A red object? A broken pattern? Are you the next symbol waiting for its corresponding event? The tape closes, but the clock keeps ticking. The wine has spilled, and we are all just trying to catch the drops before they hit the floor.
Did you like this mystery? And what is your theory? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, then like and share. I'm Merc, and I'll be waiting for you in the next mystery.